Buddha took birth on a full moon day, attained nirvana or enlightenment on a full moon day, gave his first sermon on a full moon day, and attained Mahasamadhi on a full moon day. Hence this day is celebrated as Buddha Purnima.
A day before Buddha was to take birth, Buddha's mother, Mayadevi, wanted to go to her mother's house. Buddha's father, King Shuddadana, agreed and sent her with the entire family. However, Mayadevi gave birth to Buddha in a garden midway through the journey. She then returned to her husband's house and arranged for the child's naming ceremony within a month. Mayadevi invited one of her childhood friends to the ceremony. The child was named Siddhartha. After the completion of the naming ceremony, Mayadevi put the child into her friend's lap. On viewing the child, the friend completely lost time sense and kept looking at the face of the child for 15 minutes uninterruptedly. Later, Mayadevi's friend felt, no woman in this world should get married. Even if she gets married, she should not conceive, for she cannot deliver a child like Siddhartha. Later, within a brief period, Mayadevi expired. Then her friend thought, Goddess Earth incarnated as Mayadevi to give birth to Siddhartha. Since her task has been accomplished, she left her mortal frame. After Siddhartha became Buddha, once, Mayadevi's friend visited him. Usually, when Buddha spoke out, it looked like a wall was speaking. He was such a flawless person. His body remained motionless. His face was devoid of emotions. Such Buddha stood up involuntarily, came to Mayadevi's friend, and called her mother. Buddha would usually call anyone by their name. However, he addressed Mayadevi's friend as mother. Then Mayadevi's friend felt, when Buddha called me as mother, the purpose of my advent onto this earth has been fulfilled. When Goddess Earth took the form of Mayadevi and gave birth to Siddhartha, the purpose of her advent onto this earth was accomplished.
Gautama is another name for Buddha. Gautami was the stepmother of Buddha. She was the sister of Mayadevi, who brought up Buddha. It is only because of her that Buddha attained the name of Gautama Buddha. After acquiring the state of nirvana, Gautami once visited Buddha. Buddha said, "O mother, how you nurtured me was great indeed. I cannot forget it even now. You did not shower such love even on your own son."
When Siddhartha was born, King Shuddadana learned from Siddhartha's horoscope predictions that Siddhartha would become a great king or a great ascetic. Hence King Shuddadana ensured that Siddhartha never left the palace and gained knowledge about the external world. One day, Siddhartha came out of the palace and roamed in his chariot. He suddenly came across a dead body. Then Siddhartha asked the charioteer curiously, "What is it?" The charioteer replied, "It is a corpse. All of us will become corpses one day or the other when we die." After a while, Buddha came across a severely suffering patient and an older man. When Siddhartha asked the charioteer about them, the charioteer replied, "It is inevitable that every one of us has to go through these stages of illness, old age, and death." Then Siddhartha said, "Is that all the essence of human life?" Until then, Siddhartha believed everyone was mortal and would remain young and happy forever. Even after returning home, Siddhartha was constantly reminded of the corpse, the patient, and the old man. Siddhartha's wife, Yashodhara, arranged for some dance programs to divert his attention. Then Siddhartha asked his wife, "Can we prevent death, old age, and illness by seeing these dances?" She replied, "No, we cannot escape them." Then again, Siddhartha said, "Is that all the essence of human life? Why should we give so much importance to the body which will become old or sick or a corpse one day?" Thinking thus, he was possessed with intense renunciation and decided to give up the kingdom and his family in search of truth. Yashodhara was a perfect lady. She also had a 6-month-old son. One midnight Siddhartha decided to leave. It was the hour of great departure. Siddhartha opened the room door where Yashodhara and her child were fast asleep. Siddhartha peacefully glanced at them for 5 minutes. He had no grudge against them. He looked at him, for it was the time of departure. He had no disputes at home. Is it easy to abandon the place that you love most? Hence he looked at them silently and then closed the doors to make his departure. Siddhartha called his charioteer Chenna and asked him to bring the chariot. Then he boarded the chariot and entered the forest. There he removed his attire of a king and became a monk. Looking at it, Chenna asked Siddhartha, "O Prince, I should not ask you this way. But I cannot stop asking you this question. Is it virtuous to sacrifice your father, wife, child, and kingdom? Shouldn't you love them and thereby carry on your duty?" Siddhartha replied, "O Chenna, I intensely thought about this matter for 1 year and only came to this conclusion. I am not depriving my family of my love, but I am abandoning them in an attempt to widen my love." Siddhartha did not give up his kingdom and family out of anger. After he left his great empire, he never thought of it again. It was 100% renunciation. This is because he did not want his love to be restricted to his family alone. Instead, he wanted to make the entire universe his family. Hence he became a monk. Then Siddhartha started thinking about how humanity could escape from sorrow and suffering.
In a hurry to attain nirvana, Siddhartha completely stopped taking food. Finally, he reached a state that would end his life due to fasting. In such a state, when he was seated under a tree, a lady named Sujata, desiring motherhood, came there to worship the tree. She brought porridge as an offering for the tree. Being moved by Siddhartha's state, she offered the porridge to him. This porridge sustained the life of Siddhartha. Else Siddhartha might have lost his life even before attaining nirvana. Had Sujata brought the porridge 10 days before, Siddhartha might not have accepted the same. Sujata merely offered a glass of porridge and thereby gained universal fame.
There existed a king named Bimbisara who was Buddha's contemporary. The kingdom of Bimbisara was much bigger than that of Siddhartha. Bimbisara approached Siddhartha, offered him half of his kingdom, and requested to return home. Siddhartha did not deny his proposal. Instead, he said, "I am in search of truth. I am attempting to take humanity to a sorrowless state. Therefore, I have no objection to accepting your kingdom if the same is useful in my search for truth." Then Bimbisara replied, "You are anyhow rejecting my offer. But please share with me the property you will inherit through the search for truth." Siddhartha agreed to the same. Later, when Siddhartha became Buddha, he himself went to Bimbisara and preached to him even before Bimbisara invited him. This is the sign of great people.
There exists an inseparable relationship between Buddha and trees. Buddha was born under a tree, lived under a tree, preached under a tree, attained the supreme state of nirvana, and left his mortal frame under a tree. Buddha never preached in anybody's house. After taking food, he would return and start preaching under the tree. Ultimately, when Siddhartha became Buddha and attained the supreme state of nirvana, he remained in that state for the next 48 days and did not even think of preaching to others. Then, one day Buddha saw a tree shaking severely due to a storm. A thought arose within him: just like these trees, humanity is shaking with sorrow due to their hardships. If I can preach the methodology to eradicate the cause of their sorrow, the entire humanity can practice the same and overcome their sorrow. Thus Buddha started preaching.
గౌతమ బుద్ధుడు ఉన్నాడు అనుకోండి, మొత్తం సృష్టి అంతా ఒక నీటి బొట్టు కింద కనిపిస్తున్నాడు. ఏంటి మొత్తం నీటి బొట్టు, మొత్తం 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 ప్రపంచం అంతా కూడా ఒక చిన్న నీటి బొట్టు కింద కనిపిస్తుంది. మాట వచ్చేసి వాడి కోరిక ఇంకా ఒక చిన్న నీటి బొట్టు కింద కనిపిస్తుంది. వాడి కోరిక ఏముంది? సముద్రంలో ఎంత నీరుందో, ఎంతవరకు మానవ జాతి అంత ఏడిచింది. సముద్రంలో ఎంత నీరుందో మానవ జాతి పుట్టాక అంత ఏడ్చారు. ఎవరింట్లో ఏడిచ్చానో అంత ఏడిచారు. అందరి దుఃఖం నేను తీరైపోయినా ఒక్కడి దుఃఖం ఆగిపోయటానికి నేను భూమి మీదకి వచ్చాను.
Five of Buddha's companions waited for Buddha to open his eyes and instruct them. However, when they saw Buddha consuming porridge from the hands of a lady, they abandoned him. After attaining enlightenment, Buddha came to the conclusion that he should preach. He thought of his 5 companions who left him. With his divine vision, he found that they were in Sarnath. He came to Sarnath walking. On seeing Buddha from a distance, those 5 companions planned to avoid him. But when Buddha approached them, they could not resist being attracted to Buddha due to the supreme peace they experienced in his presence. They could not hate Buddha. Instead, they desired to become his disciples. However, Buddha addressed them as friends. Buddha said, "I have gained incomparable supreme enlightenment." Buddha implied that he attained a state which was unattainable even for gods. Buddha said, "You have misunderstood me for having consumed porridge from the hands of a woman. My body has to sustain if I have to preach. hence I had to accept porridge. Buddha said in all humility, how I have attained the current state of independent bliss through wisdom, how I have attained the faultless state, the birthless state, the fearless state and the state where there are no likes and dislikes, I will try to narrate as far as I know. I don't say that I am omnipotent.
Having said thus, Buddha then preached the mediocre path. In spiritual practice, excessive eating or total absence of eating is not good. You should follow the mediocre path. The violin strings don't function well and don't give music if they are either too tight or loose. Don't overeat. Don't give up food completely. Don't sleep excessively. Also, don't give up sleep completely. Don't get involved excessively with either your family or society. Don't wait for someone to come and reform you. Find out the path for your reformation. If you get divine interference, accept the same. But don't wait for the same. If your body, mind, and intellect are kept in condition, you will attain the state of nirvana. Nirvana implies getting the ego annihilated. Desire exists within the mind. Hence the mind should get annihilated.
Buddha left Sarnath and proceeded 2 kilometers further, where he saw a person named Vyasa sitting on the road and crying. Buddha asked him, "Why are you crying?" Vyasa replied, "There is so much sorrow, misery, and tension in this world. Therefore I am crying." Then Buddha replied, "Come along with me. I will show you the way. There is no misery, no tension, and no sorrow in it. Come along with me." Such was the compassion of Buddha. God is pleased with the love filled with compassion. Vyasa was neither a relative nor a friend nor a disciple of Buddha. He was a roadside wanderer who was sorrowful. Even then, Buddha showered great compassion upon him. Suppose I love you wholeheartedly but will not do anything for your sake practically. Then what is the purpose of such love? It is irrelevant to use the word love in this context. Suppose you declare that you love your mother to a great extent and also prostrate to her 10 times a day, but don't do anything in the time of her need. Then what is the purpose of such love? If it is true, loyal, and genuine love, it must be filled with compassion. You must at least mentally desire others' reformation. It indicates that you are very poor at heart if you don't desire so. It then becomes an inhuman and unjust action.
When Buddha approached with his begging bowl, King Shuddhadana said, "Now you are a monk, and I regret that you cannot enjoy those 3 buildings in the 3 seasons that have been built for your enjoyment." Then Buddha replied, "I regret that you have not yet attained the supreme state of nirvana."
On returning, Buddha said with his wife Yashodhara, "I left the house to attain the state of nirvana. But you attained the same by staying at home."
When Yashodhara introduced her son, Rahul, Buddha did not say, "Inherit this kingdom and rule over it." Instead, he offered his begging bowl and blessed him to attain the state of nirvana. Some things are unimaginable in Buddha's life. Did you ever read about such incidents in world history? Even the kings referred to in our Puranas used to train their children how to rule the kingdom, appointed appropriate advisors, and then retired into forests. But it was not so with Buddha.
Once, Buddha's son, Rahul, approached Buddha and asked, "Why can't I attain the state of nirvana?" Then Buddha asked Rahul to bring a bowl filled with water and put both his feet into it. Rahul did accordingly. Buddha asked, "Do you see any dust particles in the water?" Rahul replied, "Yes, there are a lot of dust particles in the water." Then Buddha said, "If you want to see pure water again, you need to remove the dust from it." Similarly, your mind has several weaknesses. If you can transcend all of them, you will attain nirvana.
सत्य कथा, पुरुषार्थ कथा, सुनो सुनो सिद्धार्थ कथा। सत्य कथा, पुरुषार्थ कथा, सुनो सुनो सिद्धार्थ कथा। चढ़ते सूरज सा तेजवान वो कीर्तिमान, हुंकार भरे जब कूच करे, थर थर कांपे आसमान। वो राजपुत्र वो शूरवीर, पर्वत को भेद दे उसके तीर, शांति का स्रोत करुणा की धार, निर्झर झरे मन से अपार। वो राजपुत्र वो शूरवीर, पर्वत को भेद दे उसके तीर, है शाक्य वंश का वो तारा, जगमग है जिससे जग सारा।
सत्य कथा, पुरुषार्थ कथा, सुनो सुनो सिद्धार्थ कथा।
आरंभ हो गई निर्वाण प्रथा, सुनो सुनो ये बुद्ध कथा। संसार में दुख का कारण क्या, संताप शोक का निवारण क्या। संसार में दुख का कारण क्या, संताप शोक का निवारण क्या। इस खोज में सब कुछ त्याग दिया, हर वैभव से वैराग लिया। वो सृष्टि से संयुक्त हुए, सिद्धार्थ से गौतम